Hey guys, good morning. As you can see, we got a new section to start on today, and that is the executive branch. Got your tests. Thank you for doing that. And we're just going to move forward into the second branch of government, which is discussed in Article 2 of the Constitution. Okay, Article 2, Section 1, the executive power shall be vested in the President of the United States of America. Okay. So these are some of the topics we're going to be looking at as the president, the roles of the president, as I will refer to as different hats that the president wears. A little bit on the White House itself, the vice presidency. We'll be looking at the cabinet, also known as the executive departments. We'll also look at some of the other executive agencies and so forth that we find in the executive branch. Some of their powers of the executive, and then the Electoral College to wrap things up, and how we elect the president. Here's some pretty interesting stuff. It's not real heavy, not real difficult to understand, but some of it's interesting, some of it you already know, and so forth. Okay, so I'm going to jump right in here and get going on Section 5 notes. Okay, I did put these up in the folders on your teams. Let's see here. Let me show you here. If we go to teams, second hour and fifth hour. Okay. You guys are working on this poll for me. Please be honest. I just kind of want to have an idea of how many of you guys are actually watching my videos. Oh, I'm in the wrong one. That's history. I did a poll for you guys too, 4th and 6th. So if you go to files, you'll find these notes right here. Okay. All right, so when are the presidential elections? We know this, the first Tuesday after the first Monday in November on even-numbered years every 4 years. Okay, presidential terms are 4 years long. That's in the Constitution. Originally, there was no limit until, of course, the 22nd Amendment. I have maximum 10 years, so what would happen there is if a president died in the first, after half of their presidency is up. So this is actually 9 years, 364 days is the longest you can serve president. If a president dies in the first half of their term, the vice president can serve the remainder of that term plus one more. Okay, so there's a situation where you could just get 6 years as president. Okay, so we've been talking about this, guys, the primaries. This is something that's been going on. Wisconsin held theirs last week, even though we had the corona. And so that's going to continue, although, as you guys know, we're down basically to Joe Biden. The president, former president, Barack Obama, came out yesterday, day before, and finally endorsed his former vice president. And so, guys, we're really waiting for August. And, we run these conventions, and usually in late August. And that's up in the air, really, at this point. So, kind of on a political note, this is something that if they do not hold these conventions in public, I don't know if this favors, who this favors or doesn't favor. I think when you think of Joe Biden, at this point, he's kind of struggled at times with, maybe his memory or, what he's saying, confusion, that sort of thing. Other days he looks completely normal. So I think putting him in a situation where he's in public and having to speak a lot, it may favor Biden. Now, President Trump, if you've been paying attention, has been giving daily press briefings on the fight against the COVID-19, the Wuhan virus, the China virus, the coronavirus. Okay, all these terms. Most people have kind of settled on COVID-19. And that is a story that is fluid and changes every day. And if you didn't know, our governor, Laura Kelly, has extended the stay-at-home order until May 3rd. Okay, for those of you guys that are involved in summer activities, summer sports, and so forth. Now, most of you guys are seniors. Unless you're doing something in college, you're probably not too worried about that. So, what's going to happen this summer? I just don't know. So whether they have these conventions or not, we'll see. Which is totally different. There's a debate over mail-in ballots going on right now. And so that's something we'll kind of keep an eye on over the next couple weeks before you guys graduate. So they go through the election, so we pretty much know who the two nominees are now. We started with New Hampshire and Iowa. And, those prove generally to be very important. But if you remember, Joe Biden didn't do well in either one of those. But when he hit South Carolina and actually won really big there, that changed the whole scenario. Okay, so typically in a typical election year, you look at Iowa and New Hampshire, and you think they have a big impact. I'm not so sure that's going to be the case moving forward for the Democratic Party, especially because of their demographics. Heavily minority voters. That's why Biden did so well. Where in Iowa and New Hampshire, most of the voters are white, and so you're looking at kind of your white liberal socialist people coming out and voting for Bernie and Elizabeth and so forth. Where when you get into bigger states, you move south, you have more diversity. It changes the dynamic. Okay, probably from what it has in the past. Okay, so anyhow. When they do go to the convention, they write a party platform, okay? And this is the party's stance on every issue, all the issues. A party plank is the stance on one issue, so the abortion issue would be a plank. Abortion plus taxes plus immigration would be part of the platform, if that makes sense, okay? This is the basic stance of the party on all these issues. This is influenced by the nominee, okay? So Trump's Republican Party platform would look different than, say, Bush's political party platform and so on, okay? One thing's for sure, Biden had to move to the left to win the nomination. So what we're looking at, and Obama actually talked about this when he endorsed him, said this is the most progressive Democrat platform that the Democratic Party's ever had, and that includes Obama, okay? So you hear things about universal income for all, obviously more socialism when it comes to, school, college, college tuition, healthcare, all these other things, Medicare for all. These are things that Joe Biden has pretty strong stances on, okay? Once the conventions are over, they hit the campaigning hard. They're going across the country, visiting important key states, those swing states. I guarantee you Joe Biden's going to spend a lot of time in Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, okay, because Hillary kind of ignored those and took them for granted in 2016. But will those campaign events be even allowed? Will we be having them? Or is it all going to be social media, the media itself, that are driving the narratives rather than the candidates themselves? That's going to be really interesting to see this play out. And really, quite honestly, has me, kind of concerned about our political process. So once the election takes place in November, they take office January 20th. Okay, it used to be March 4th. The lame duck period was November to March 4th, and they shortened that with the 20th to January 20th, okay? So qualifications like we did with the House and the Senate, 25, 30, 35 to be president now. You must be a natural-born U.S. citizen, okay? I always tell Lily, Lily, you can be anything you want except president of the United States, okay? Live in the U.S. for 14 years, okay? So If you were born in the United States and your family moved to France and you grew up there, you went to college there, and you started a business there, now you're 40 years old, you want to come back to the United States and run for president, well, you have to live here for 14 years. Okay, this prevents the Manchurian candidate. Okay, somebody from another country coming in and taking over our country type of thing. Okay, salary and benefits, pretty simple stuff here. So the president makes $400,000 a year. Okay, that's not per term, that's $400,000 a year. If you look it up, our current president, obviously, who's very wealthy, has been donating his salary. I think he's been kind of breaking it up into like 100 or quarterly chunks, maybe, to different causes. He gets a $50,000 expense allowance. So if the president's out traveling somewhere and he wants to buy some flowers for Melania, he can just say, hey, go buy some flowers for Melania. He can use this expense allowance. Okay, $100,000 for travel. Now, guys, the taxpayers pick up the tab on anytime the president flies anywhere in Air Force One. And this is an advantage that an incumbent has, is the President of the United States can take Air Force One, all the Secret Service. He can do a rally in, St. Louis, Missouri, and we have to pick up a tab for that. Okay, that's the way the system works. I mean, there's some of that his campaign is going to have to pay for as well. So you have to look at the specifics on that. I don't think we pick up all the costs. I think his campaign has to pick up some of that as well. He's got $19,000 for entertainment. Okay, pensions, former presidents. They all get a pension. We don't want our former presidents to wind up broke, impoverished, and so forth. That just doesn't wear very well. So they all get a pension of $150,000 a year. They also get $150,000 a year to maintain a presidential office. Okay, so our surviving presidents, Jimmy Carter, Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, George W. Bush, they all have an office. Okay, former first ladies get a small pension of $20,000 a year. Obviously, they're not official employees of the government, but that's just something nice the Congress threw in for the first ladies. Okay, this should actually say Secret Service. I don't know if I can edit this or not. For 10 years after leaving office, the first family, the children get it while they're in office, up to the age of 16. So the Bush daughters, when W. Bush was president, he was president for 8 years. They were in high school when they started, and then they went to college. And so they still kept some of that because he was president, and just to make sure that they were protected and so forth. Now, they didn't follow the girls around everywhere and that sort of thing. Okay. And the first ladies get Secret Service protection also after leaving office for 10 years. Okay, so Hillary has gotten that. She got that for a long time. Okay, the vice president gets $235,100 a year. I just looked that up. So that's probably what Nancy's making now, the equivalent. And he's the president of the Senate. She's the Speaker of the House. They both make this much. Okay, non-salary compensation. The presidents get free health care and retirement. We talked about the pension. But he also has some very nice things that he gets to use while he's president, okay, including his own airplane, Air Force One, which is a great movie if you haven't seen it, by the way, Air Force One, Harrison Ford. There's a presidential yacht, okay, that goes back to Franklin Roosevelt, who loved to sail, loved to be on the water. And so there's a presidential yacht, presidential motorcade, and one thing I don't have on here is Marine One. So you have Air Force One and Marine One, which is the presidential helicopter. Kind of a cool story. Bishop Carroll Grad, if you ever watch the president getting on and off the helicopter, there's always a Marine stationed there, and the president will generally salute the Marine. And for many years under Clinton and Bush, that Marine was a dueling that had graduated from Bishop Carroll High School, which is pretty cool. Okay. Then he also has a vacation home called Camp David. Now, Camp David is just outside D.C. in the mountains of Maryland. And there's also, on the other side of that mountain, a Mount St. Mary's, which is a seminary, where we have had some of our former students attend Mount St. Mary's Seminary. There was a guy named Darling, David Darling, and I don't know if he became a priest or not, but he was there, and it's kind of neat. So there's one road that leads into Camp David. Now the president usually comes in by helicopter, but there's a fork in the road and there's a statue of Mary. Okay, and if the light is on the statue of Mary, I don't think the president's there. But if they turn the light off, the president is there. Okay, and I heard this story about David Darling. Him and some of the other seminarians were walking through the mountain, through the forest, and they had gone too close to Camp David, and some Secret Service guys popped out of the woods and said, "You guys need to turn around and go back the other way." So that's kind of a neat thing. The president can use Camp David whenever he wants. It's basically a retreat to get out of the Beltway, get out of the D.C. Some presidents use it more than others. Eisenhower used it quite a bit. Jimmy Carter used it to hold some very high-level talks between the Israelis and the Palestinians. W. Bush didn't really use it that much. He had Crawford, Texas. He had a ranch out there, so that's kind of where he would go. The Obamas like to go up to like the Cape Cod area. They had a place up there. They stayed, but Obama used it some as well. Okay, so Camp David's is built, I think, in the 50s, and Eisenhower was the first to use it. Now, the president and the first family get to live in the White House, okay, which is a pretty old house, but over the years it's been updated. But there's some interesting facts. You don't need to know these for a test or anything, but there's 132 rooms, 35 bathrooms, 6 levels in the residence. There are 412 doors, 147 windows, 28 fireplaces, 8 staircases, 3 elevators on 18 acres, okay, right in the heart of D.C., okay, Pennsylvania Avenue. Now, for recreation, different presidents have put different facilities in. Okay, but there's a tennis court, a jogging track, swimming pool. Bush put in the movie theater. Nixon put in the bowling alley in the basement. When Eisenhower was there, he loved to play golf. He had a chipping and putting green there on the White House grounds. George W. Bush also put in a Little League baseball field, big baseball guy. And Obama put in a basketball court. Okay. Now some of these are still there. I don't think the baseball field's still there. Some of these come and go, but there's a variety of different, hopefully, distractions that the president, first family can have. Obviously, the President Trump has Barron. We don't really see him much. He's tall now. I don't know. I want to say he's like 14, something like that. So, Barron lives in the White House with Melania and Donald, and there's a bunch of people that work at the White House. Some stay there. You have cooks, you have a butler, you have staff, and of course Secret Service as well is going to be there 24 hours a day. That's kind of an interesting thing. There's a movie that came out a few years ago called The Butler, which was about an African-American gentleman that had served as the butler for several different presidents. Kind of a cool story, okay? The next thing we get into is the 8 different roles of the president, or the different hats that the president wears. There's actually a homework assignment in your book that I could have you guys do if you want. And I'm going to wait till Monday to do any more on this. This is Thursday. You guys just took a test. We're doing really well as far as timing goes, getting through everything here. We'll knock it off today at about 20 minutes. Okay. You guys have a great weekend, and fill out my poll. And I hope you're watching these, guys. I'm trying not to put too much on you, but I'd appreciate it if you at least expose yourself to this information. Okay? Peace.